Yeah, obviously not how we would have liked the turn out to be, the result, but I think we saw a lot of things from our guys, put ourselves in stressful situations. We handled some things really well, and then, they've got great athletes, and great athletes from both teams make plays, and they made some plays. There were some things we could control that didn't help ourselves, and we'll be able to work on that coming out of our first game. That's what we can do, is use those things to get better. We always say, you learn from it, you're moving forward.
Jerry, the first fourth down play, was that a go-for-it situation and just a communication gaffe? Was it a try to draw them offside situation?
It was, if we liked what we saw, thought we had it, we would go for it. And if not, we were going to try to get them to jump. And when that didn't happen, I decided to pin them in, and that didn't happen. Field position was the key thing there.
How big was special teams, do you think, in this game? Obviously, that return, you score, and they got you right back on the return. Just how much of a differentiator was that?
Well, all day you can see that special teams, and when you play games like this, that's usually one of the where the big differences are, because the depth and amount of scholarship players that each team has, presents a challenge. Not that our guys can't do what they do, but, you try to put some starters on there, which is your better athletes, but you can't play them on there the whole game when they're playing a whole game against an ACC team. And so it's a learned thing, too, for young guys, because a lot of those guys are young guys, talented but young. And so that's a lot of times where you see a big separation from the FBS schools and maybe some of the FCS schools.
Dallas with an interception as well in the end zone. Just what did you like about his ability to read the ball, kind of play center field, and just make that play? Really good to see that from him, because it's one of the things that we saw was a huge positive when we recruited him. As we recruited him out of high school, and then when he went in the transfer portal, he has great ball skills and length, and so that will benefit him in the future. And to see him put it into the field of play in a game, that was great. What did you like from Tyler today? I saw a fight in him. I saw that he understands how to manage a football game, sometimes being stressed and facing adversity. He's been in these stadiums, and he wasn't worried about it. He was ready to go out there and compete. They have a great defensive front, always have. How many guys in the NFL they have from their D-line? And they recruit well and coach them well, and so they put some pressure on him. But he fought and battled through it.
Do you think the D-line was kind of like where the problems on the offensive line stem from, not just with getting beat, but unfortunately with the penalties, as they kind of kept racking up as the game went along?
Yeah, absolutely. When you've got really, really talented guys, it's tough to keep up with them and stress some of our guys. Absolutely had a big part of it, when you control that line of scrimmage and stuff.
Did you like what you saw with Joey? You finished the day with 8 catches and 120 yards. It seemed like he was constantly causing problems for Pitt's defense.
Absolutely. Coach, saw him after, said, hey, Isabel's a great player. And we knew that and expected it, but I was glad to see him do it on this stage. I don't recall how many. I think he's been hurt for some of our prior years when we played some FBS games, so it's great to see him do that, and we're looking forward to him in the future.
Coach, you guys have started out the seasons for the last 5 playing FBS teams. What do you think is so valuable about starting your season against a high-level team like that?
We are really challenging ourselves to play at a high level. You can't simulate. Even the FBS schools will say it's tough to simulate in practice. the game speed. When we go play these games, we're pushing ourselves to our highest level. And when you do that, that helps you get better. So that's what we're taking from it. It really it's going to help us get better.
On third down, you guys struggled a little bit today. What do you think you guys can take from that into next week?
I think, as we talked, the pass rush had something to do with that. You know, it was a challenge to get a lot of time to get the ball down the field. And, you know, we had some shorter third down situations that helped us. But when you're in third and long down, that's tough when they're gearing it up.
In terms of the defensive effort, we talked earlier in the week about how Mickey's has a little bit more tools in that toolbox, and there was definitely some frustration on that other side. Just how much do you attribute that to just the investment to that side, especially in the first quarter and a half?
Yeah, those guys, you know, did some really good things. I think for the most part that, you know, their tailback's phenomenal, and we always try to contain guys like that. And, you know, I mean, he had obviously the returns, but he didn't, I don't think he exploded for a ton of yards. I didn't look at it yet, but they kept him contained. I mean, that's a high-powered offense. They try to pace it. So I thought our guys did a pretty good job trying to keep them contained.
Some second unit guys came in the third quarter. Is that something you were expecting to do before today, or is that a game time decision?
Well, there's a point where, you know, we don't think the first team has enough time to come back in the way the game's going. We want to get some younger guys some reps, and we want to limit the number of plays too that maybe some of our guys are playing to keep their bodies healthy and get ready to go for next week. So it's going to benefit us in the long run to get those guys reps at this high level. Even if they put their second guys in, their second guys are, you know, they're 3- and 4-star guys that are just young. So it's challenging our guys to keep up with them and practice their reps at a high pace.
With one game in, how much of it is learning and how much of it is just continue to sharpen that identity that you've already created?
We have to learn a lot. We have to learn a lot of football. You know, everybody talks about, you know, we've been here for camp. It's really only like, I mean, it was 25 practices, but, you know, the last couple you have to gear down and do just all Pitt. But like you know, we have a new quarterback, so he's learning a new system. We have a couple new linebackers. They're learning a new system. So you're not able to. And I heard somebody talking about this week, with the whole transfer portal thing, like you can't just expedite you know, even if guys have been here and we've got our whole offensive line back, but you can't go so fast because, you know, your quarterback and a couple receivers are learning, you know. So there's that balance that maybe, I know this, I didn't feel real good about the stuff that I needed maybe another week or two to get our guys ingrained in some of the things that we really do well. We've practiced them, but, you know, you got to, and then you go against a high-paced team like this and talented team, you know. So it's good. It's good. We'll take the positives out of it and move forward.
Coach, you talked all week about, you know, a lot of extra attention to this game and what it meant to the city. Now that it happened, what did it mean to the program just to be here competing on the stage in the city against the team?
I think our guys really enjoyed the opportunity to play here. Even at halftime, you know, when we were down a little bit, they were excited to go out and play and want to go play Dukes football, play here. I thought, looked to me like the crowd was great. You guys can tell me, I don't pay a lot of attention to it, but you know, to the point where we were happy they didn't choose to put us in the students' end when we first had the football. Like that was going to be our plan, was to make sure we were coming out of the other end for our first drive, because it gets loud, you know. And even before the game, our linemen were talking about they couldn't hear the clap, and, you know, so we had to talk about that too. But I thought the atmosphere was great. And I don't know. I didn't look around and see how much red, but I heard there were a ton of Duquesne fans here, which is great.
Yeah, and then just what it meant for the city. It's a proud football city, and now these teams will kind of go back to their respective divisions and compete for championships. Yeah,
I think it's great for City of Pittsburgh football. The high school started last week. They're in their second week. All the FCS and FBS are playing. Pitt and us and the Morris, we're all kicking off. All the D2s will kick off here. So it's great for Pittsburgh football, and for us to play at Acrisure against Pitt, I think it's great.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for being here.